She stood in a courtroom where she could not speak. The judge ruled anyway. Your petitioner is held in custody by Robert Smith and claims unlawful restraint of liberty. On January 19, 1856, a Los Angeles court ordered the release of a black woman. Her name was Bridget Mason. She had been held in bondage in a state where slavery was illegal. The court ruled she was free, but she was not allowed to testify in her own case. Robert Marion Smith owned 640 acres of land near San Bernardino. He was a Mormon convert, a cattleman, a man who had crossed 1,700 miles west with wagons, livestock, and people he claimed as property. In California, he continued as he had in Mississippi. He held them, he directed them, he signed their names when needed. By 1855, he was preparing to leave again, this time for Texas, a slave state. The movement was quiet. No public notice, no court filing. If he reached Texas, the law would follow him, and the people with him would disappear into it. The petition had already been filed. He did not know. Welcome to Dark History USA, the channel where plantation records, court files, and Freedmen's Bureau documents bring back the names that history tried to erase. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, did you learn this story in school? Yes or no? And if you have not subscribed yet, subscribe now, so these records are never forgotten again. The Los Angeles County Court Register for January 1856 lists a writ, habeas corpus, filed on behalf of Bridget Mason and 12 others. The clerk's ink is darker than the surrounding entries. Added after the docket line was first written, someone had intervened. The record does not state who first carried the message. The property ledger from Mississippi lists Bridget Mason as property of Robert M. Smith. Estimated age, 38 years. No surname recorded. The entry is written in brown ink, thinner than later editions. The value column reads $1,000. By 1848, she was moved west. The wagon train left Mississippi with 56 people. 12 were enslaved. The journey took nearly 6 months, across plains, desert, and mountain passes. In California, the law had already changed. The state constitution of 1849 prohibited slavery. But enforcement was inconsistent, especially in remote settlements like San Bernardino. Smith continued to hold them. No wages, no contracts, no legal filings recognizing their status. Bridget worked as a midwife. The record later describes her hands as steady under pressure. Soft, she delivered children. White families called for her. She walked miles between homes. No document records payment to her directly. What happened in those homes left little paper trail, but the pattern in the later accounts tells its own story. She built relationships, names that would later appear in court filings. By 1855, Smith began organizing another relocation. Destination, Texas. Distance, approximately 1,400 miles. The wagons were prepared, livestock counted, supplies listed. No legal transfer of persons was filed in California. No emancipation recorded. At the time, the paperwork moved quietly. No one questioned it. Where are you listening from? Drop your city in the comments. The departure date was not written in the ledger, but someone knew it was coming. The Los Angeles court filing dated January 19, 1856 records the petition, filed by a local attorney on behalf of 13 individuals. It lists illegal detention as the cause. No wages are mentioned, only restraint. The document names Robert M. Smith directly. It does not include testimony from Bridget Mason. California law at the time prohibited black testimony against white individuals. The absence is noted in the margin. One line. Petition proceeds without sworn statement from petitioner. The sheriff's return ledger records execution of the writ. Date, January 21st, 1856. Location, near Cajon Pass. Smith's wagon train was stopped. Dust would have settled slowly around the wheels. Animals restless, children present. The order was read. The individuals were separated from Smith's control. No transcript records. What Bridget Mason said at that moment. No statement survives. But the court record 2 days later, January 23rd, lists her name again. This time as freed by order. The second document does not match the first. The first shows detention. The second shows release. Between those two entries, something changed. She stood in a courtroom where she could not speak. She faced a man who claimed ownership. The judge ruled anyway. No court document records her expression. But later accounts describe her remaining still throughout the proceeding. The ruling freed all 13 individuals. One word. How does this make you feel? Leave it below. The file closes with a clerk's note. There were other cases filed that same week. The January 19th, 1856 docket includes 2 additional filings. Second petition filed January 21st, 1856. Third petition filed January 24th, 1856. Different names. Same charge. Unlawful detention. Combined, the 3 petitions list 27 individuals, all held within San Bernardino jurisdiction. Each filing references intended movement toward Texas. Distance noted in regional accounts, approximately 1,400 miles. The handwriting matches across all 3 filings. Same clerk, same ink density. The pattern was not isolated, it was emerging. A local official, name recorded as Benjamin Hayes, reviewed the filings. Title, District Judge. He noted the absence of labor contracts, no wage agreements, no emancipation records. He compared entries across 3 separate petitions. Each listed removal beyond California jurisdiction. Each filed within a 5-day period. The documents showed what was present: names, dates, locations. They also showed what was missing: no legal authority to hold them, no transfer rights, no recognition under state law. In winter of 1856, Smith continued his preparations. Wagons aligned, inventory recorded. His orders followed routine. Lists were checked. Animals counted. The investigation had already begun. He did not know. By January 23, 1856, the case could no longer be ignored. The court order dated January 23, 1856 lists the ruling. All 13 individuals declared free. The language is direct. Held without lawful authority within this state. The Los Angeles Court Register, January 1856, page 42, records the judgment. Smith's name appears without title. A second document follows. Filed January 24, 1856. Sheriff's Enforcement Return. It confirms execution of the order. Location, San Bernardino District. Time recorded, afternoon entry. The return lists all 13 individuals removed from Smith's custody. No resistance recorded. Smith's authority ended in that entry. Not by force, by record. No appeal filing appears in Los Angeles County records within 30 days. No counterclaim is entered. His planned departure toward Texas is not recorded after January 1856. Distance remaining, approximately 1,200 miles. In that courtroom, Bridget Mason stood without voice in the record. No court document records this moment. But the continuity of records suggests a controlled exit, not flight. Her name appears beneath the ruling. Freedom recorded in ink. No document records her movement immediately after release. But later records confirm she remained in Los Angeles. If this record stayed with you, there are dozens more on this channel. Subscribe so these names are never forgotten. The order was delivered. The enforcement was recorded. What followed was written into the city itself. Robert Marion Smith's final legal entry appears in the Los Angeles Court Register, January 23, 1856. The ruling voided his claim to all 13 individuals. No recovery action follows. No subsequent filing restores his authority under California law. By mid-1856, his departure from California is recorded in migration accounts. Destination, Texas. He left without legal claim to those he attempted to remove. His control ended at the court order. Bridget Mason appears in Los Angeles records within the next decade. Occupation, nurse and midwife. The 1870 federal census lists her in Los Angeles County. Age, 48. Personal estate, $300. She is recorded in a household of extended family members. Names listed across the entry. In 1872, a land purchase is recorded. Los Angeles Deed Book. 3, page 112. Property location, Spring Street. Consideration paid, $250. Her name appears as buyer. No intermediary listed. By 1880, census records show increased property value. Estimated estate, $3,000. Occupation unchanged. Her name appears in the registry of the First African Methodist Episcopal Church, listed among early members. The same city that recorded her detention later recorded her ownership. One document listed her as property. Another recorded her as free. A third recorded her as owner. This record still exists. Others do not. If this story stayed with you, leave one word in the comments. His claim was voided in court on January 23, 1856. Her name appears in Deed Book, 3 page 112, as property owner